it's not an understatement to say that the Strip is Vegas.
Vegas, 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 Vegas.
Where do you go to find what's here? It's maybe the only place of its kind in the world.
When you get to Las Vegas Boulevard and you look down the street, you have to say, I'm in Vegas. And so that's very, very important for us. Getting that look right was very important for us.
I think the Strip is going to be the thing for me. It's where we put the most amount of work in terms of design.
The scope and scale of the Strip is just something new. I mean, it's huge.
We want to make it big and huge and giant casinos and giant neon signs and tons of people milling about and make it feel like I'm actually on the Strip in real Las Vegas.
What we wanted to do was make sure that we captured a lot of the elements of Vegas that people today in the real world are excited about and appreciate, but at the same time make sure it had that 1950s sci-fi sensibility about it.
You know, that idea of recreating the spirit of classic Vegas, because that's also more of a Fallout style.
One of the things that kind of excited a lot of the artists and designers here was the ability to sort of take an amusement park city and then just play around with all the visual themes and the energy that Vegas has.
Our lead artist, Joe Sanabria, went through and started making just silhouettes of the shapes of the casinos.
We blocked out a chunk of land and started just placing individual buildings to get a feel for how big things should be.
And those are profiles that we could look at from a distance in the wasteland, and because we wanted to make sure that when you saw these things from a distance, you're like, that's the Strip. There's nothing else that's like it when you look across the desert.
While I was working on those, the artists were making proxies of those buildings, very low-res versions of them, just so that we could get an idea of how they would fit in the map.
And then once we got onto the Strip itself, we started building them up, building the details, the lights on them, looking at it during the day and at night, and then populating it to see what it looked like as a living and breathing environment.
And that's when the artists themselves pretty much take ownership of it, and it goes from my hands to theirs, and then that's when they start to do all the cool things we see in the game.
When you arrive at the Strip, it's definitely a wow moment. When you go through the gates of the Strip, you know, you find yourself in a location that you really haven't seen anything of its like in the Fallout universe before.
We knew we wanted the player to get that feeling that you get when you go to the real Las Vegas Strip, which is, you know, you set foot at one end of the Strip and you look down and you see like all the neon lights.
It's about kind of bringing that feeling back of those big signs that say, you know, Dean Martin and Sinatra, you know, playing and things like that.
We're going to examine all the different vices in human nature, spread those amongst the casinos on the Strip.
What are the main themes of Las Vegas when you go there? And, you know, things that always come up are, you know, luck, sleaze, luxury, organized crime.
Each casino has its own theme and its own feel, and as soon as the player goes into it, they get it.
You have the Tops, which is run by a tribe called the Chairmen, and they really harken back to the Rat Pack.
Everything about it is very Rat Pack oriented. Benny is very Rat Pack oriented, and so it has this whole theme goes throughout it.
Then you also have Gomorrah, which is run by the Emeritus, who are basically like the mob past of Vegas.
The whole point of the casino is sort of a sex sells kind of idea.
As soon as you step into the door, like there are flames going up on either side of you. There's like the demonic statues off in the corner.
Women dancing in cages and prostitutes literally walking around and soliciting you while you're trying to gamble.
It's also, of course, one of the most profitable casinos on the Strip, because you have a lot of servicemen from the New California Republic Army who are going to the Strip on leave.
This place smells like booze and sex. That's why I always come back.
Mr. House's casino, the Lucky 38, that has a very mausoleum feel about it intentionally. So when you go in there, you feel like you're actually walking into an ancient crypt, a part of the old world that hasn't been touched, and that's supposed to reinforce a lot of his character in that location.
We also have the Ultra Lux, which is the super ritzy casino.
Big, high dome, very nice people greeting you and being maybe a little too well-mannered with you.
I am at your service.
Ultra Lux is all known for basically being high society, and so you can kind of hobnob with the wealthy elite that do visit the Strip because they tend to stay there.
You look like you'd be more at home at one of the other hotels.
I think a big part of Vegas, no matter what time period it's gone through, each casino is trying to sort of carve out its own particular theme and niche, and it was a lot of fun coming up with those styles for the casinos, specifically in New Vegas.
You also see a lot of debauchery on the Strip, of course. You see a lot of, you know, drunken soldiers who are kind of stumbling around from casino to casino.
Walking around in drunken stupors and puking on the sidewalks and dancing naked in fountains and that sort of thing.
Securitron robots will roll out of there and patrol the strip quietly, just day in and day out. So if you show any iron on the streets or start shooting, those guys will take you out. I think players can probably spend as much time as they want on the strip. We have a whole series of casino games.
You can gamble on the strip. That's the most basic thing, the reason why most of the people are there.
There's an extensive series of quest lines that go on within the city, as one might expect. Players should have plenty to do.
In the end, I think we did a really good job. The guys worked hard and were able to put things together in a way that I think is going to be entertaining for folks.
What keeps people coming back, I believe, is just good gameplay, good story. Maybe for some people, it's the amount of blood and violence that we have in the game, I don't know.
Taking a previous past and create a total new reality derived from this past, I think people are just really, it turns them on.
If you enjoyed Fallout 3, when you get into New Vegas, you're gonna get a lot of shocks, you're gonna get a lot of surprises, a lot of reversals, and you're gonna get another classic Fallout experience.